Hey guys, welcome back to Disrupted, where we analyze and discuss technology that's changing the world as we know it. And in this segment, I want to talk about fear of investing, and typically fear of change. You see, in investing, a lot of us are so afraid to start. A lot of us are so scared that we don't even take the step to embrace change. And I want to tell a story that will hopefully help change our perspective and change how we approach fear, to a more specific fear of investing and fear of change. You see, the world as we know it is changing, and this change is so rapid, more rapid than we've ever seen in the history of man. And it's important that we not only embrace this change, but we stand on the right side of change. So, to tell the story, again, disclaimer, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a minister, I'm not a priest. However, this is a biblical story. I know it, and I'm going to tell it in my words. It's a story derived from a parable called the parable of the talents. And it goes something like this. There was once a king, or in this case, a high net worth individual. He decides, hey, I've been working so hard, I've made so much money, I need to take a vacation. He decides he was going to go on a trip. However, before he goes on a trip, he calls three of his servants. In this case, his servants are his fund managers. He calls them, probably on a Zoom call, conference call, all at the same time, and says, hey guys, I'm going to go on a trip. The trip is going to be for a few months. I just want to relax. However, I do have some money here on the side. I have some money that I want you guys to kind of keep safe for me. I don't want it just sitting on the side. I just want you guys to at least keep it safe for me. So the hedge fund manager says, sure, we can do it. So he calls the first hedge fund manager, first money manager. In this case, we're going to give her a name, say Kathy. He says, hey, Kathy, I've known you for a while. You've been really good with my money. So, hey, I have 5 talents of gold that I'm going to give you. And back in those days, a talent was just a measure of gold, which is pretty much like an ounce. He gives Kathy the 5 talents of gold and tells her, hey, go ahead, I trust you, do what you gotta do. He calls the second fund manager. Again, we don't care about what his name is in this case, but he says, hey, I've known you for a while too. Not as long as Kathy, but I've known you for a while. Here's some gold for you. Here's 4 talents of gold. Go ahead, take it. I'm pretty sure you'll take good care of it. Do what you gotta do. The fund manager says, thank you. I'll take care of it for you. And then he goes on and calls the last guy. He says, hey, I haven't known you that well. However, I think you have promise. I want to try you out. I'm going to give you 2 talents of gold. Do what you got to do. Let's see what you can do with it. He gives him the 2 talents. He says, thank you, master. Thank you, boss. Thank you, high net worth individual. So he goes up for his trip. A few months go by, and then he comes back. Obviously, he's back. He wants to go over his portfolio with his managers and see what happens, see what they did with his money. He goes back on Zoom, goes on a conference call, calls all 3 of them, and says, hey guys, I'm back. They were like, whoa, we're glad you're back. He was like, now I'm back. Bring out the books. Let's go over the portfolio. Let's see what's going on. He calls Kathy, the first lady. He's like, hey, Kathy, since I gave you the money first, you go first. Kathy goes and says, hey, I knew you were going to be back today. Right after you left, I did my due diligence. I did a good amount of research. I found something called Bitcoin. I put your money, your gold, the 5 talents you gave me to work in Bitcoin, invested in it. And today, Bitcoin has more than doubled. Back when you gave me before you traveled, it was 5 talents of gold to 1 Bitcoin. But as of today, it has doubled. It's now more than 10 talents of gold to 1 Bitcoin. Do you want me to send you your money? The manager said, no, you've done a really good job. Kathy says, yeah, I went ahead and took my 1% commission and also took out 25% for taxes because you got to pay taxes. But still, what's left over for you is more than double. The manager, in this case, the high net worth individual, said, thank you, Kathy. You've done a really good job. Just hold on to the money for now. He goes on to the next manager and says, hey, you, I believe I gave you 4 talents of gold. What have you done with it? He said, wow, I also did my research. I found a company called Tesla. I knew this company was going to lead the future. So I went ahead and put this money to work, the 4 talents you gave me, and invested in Tesla. At first, it was a bit shaky. There were a lot of short sellers selling Tesla, so the stock dropped a lot. But after time, I had a huge conviction in this company. So I stuck to my gut feeling, stuck to my research. I had done my due diligence, so I was confident in this company. I stuck with it. But now, the stock price has more than doubled. See the books show. He says, good job. The manager says, I went ahead and took out my 1% commission and also took out 25% for taxes because you got to pay taxes. And now even whatever is left over is more than double. So now if I sell the stock, you are going to have 10 talents of gold instead of the 4 talents you gave me. He was like, thank you. You doubled my money. I'm proud of you. Thank you. Now he focuses on the third guy. He says, okay, the 2 managers, they've done good. What about you? What have you done with my money? He said, hey, sir, I knew you were going to be back today. So what I did was I took the money you gave me. I deposited it in the bank so no one was going to steal it. I left it in the bank. And today, look at your bank balance. It's exactly what you gave me. 2 talents of gold. I haven't lost a bit of gold. The high net worth individual got pretty mad. He was like, even though my money might have been safe in the bank, there's a thief called inflation. A thief you can't see, but however, he exists. Although I gave you 2 talents of gold, these 2 talents of gold is not worth 2 talents of gold at the time I gave you due to inflation. So this leads me to what I call the law of use. You see, there are laws in this world. Certain laws, you can't see them, but you gotta live by them. One of them is the law of use, which means whatever you don't use, you lose. You see, the high net worth individual said, hey, you, to the guy who only had 2 talents to manage. He took those 2 talents from him and gave it to the lady, Kathy, who managed 5 talents and doubled it to 10. So now Kathy has 12 talents, and the guy who just deposited the gold on the bank only has 0 talents. The law of use. Whatever you don't use, you lose. The second law is the law of value. What is the law of value? You might think to yourself. The law of value is simple. The law of value states, for he that has more, more shall be given unto him. And for he that has little, the little he has shall be taken from him. I know this kind of sounds selfish. You might say, hey, why is it that the little guy gets his stuff taken from him? But hey, don't complain to me. Go complain to the big man upstairs, the guy who created the laws. You see, it's not a coincidence that the rich keeps getting richer and the poor keeps getting poorer. In 2020 alone, the top 1%'s wealth grew by 35%. 35%, they are now 35% more billionaires than they were before. The gap between the rich and the poor is slowly and slowly getting bigger, and it's gonna keep getting bigger. Why? The law of value. It says, he that has shall have more, he that doesn't have shall have less. Again, don't complain to me. Go complain to the guy who created the laws. See, the law of use and the law of value are pretty much like the law of gravity. You might not see it, but it does exist. Gravity states whatever goes up must come down. I know you could say, hey, an airplane goes up, stays there for a while, but guess what? It still comes down. You cannot avoid the law of gravity, just like you can't avoid the law of use and the law of value, at least not in this planet. Maybe on a different solar system you can, but not on this planet. In conclusion, guys, change is scary. Change can be frightening. However, change is also inevitable. You must embrace change. You must stand on the right side of change. And how do you do this? By investing in disruptive technology. Technology that's changing life as we know it. Technology that changes how we do everything. Technology that changes how we sleep, how we wake up, how we drive, how we communicate, how we associate with each other. Today, there are few companies out here that are really pushing the brink of what we know technology as. Obviously, the biggest of them is Tesla. There's a few others I can mention. I'm sure you know them. I'm sure you've seen them in your day-to-day life. However, you might be scared to make the first step. Some people are so scared that they resist technology as hard as they possibly can. But guess what? Change is inevitable. It's gonna happen, with or without you. So you might as well be on the right side of change and invest in this change. That's it for the video, guys. I'll see you here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you, and I hope you guys start investing today.